Want to build your own Faz-Cam? This is the template you'll need. I've made this so you can screenshot it and scale the highlighted pieces to the measurements shown on screen in blue. That way, you can either print it out and use it as a template, or trace the pieces yourself if you don't have a printer. This way, you shouldn't need to measure anything yourself as long as it's scaled properly. Microsoft Publisher, LibreOffice Draw, and any other similar programs can be used to scale these up. Now before I get into it, I want to note that I made a mistake in this tutorial, but instead of scrapping it and starting over, I decided to use this as an opportunity to show you exactly how to fix a mistake like this if you run into a similar problem. Once all your pieces are cut out, you'll have to make these tabs that I am attaching now. There's no need to measure these, just make them a bit shorter than your pieces and wide enough to be folded in half, and glue can be applied to both sides. These should be made out of the thinner cardboard or poster board or any kind of thicker material. You don't want to use paper. All of the main pieces for your walls will need two tabs, one on the top, one on the bottom. The slanted sides will only need one tab on the top, and the sides that go up from there will only need one tab on the top as well, and the very top piece needs no tabs at all. With all your pieces cut out and tabs applied, it's time for assembly. I suggest to start with one of your sides and then move to the front or back, and then, unlike what I did here, do the second side before doing the other front or back, whichever you started with. Once you have 2 out of the 4 sides up, this is the time to put in your picture if you've chosen to do so. All I did was apply a pull tab to the front of the photo, and then eyeballed some ribbon and glued that inside the Faz-Cam just to keep the picture from falling out. I left the photo hanging outside of the body until I have finished the Faz-Cam sides to avoid getting any glue on it. Here's where you can see I made my mistake. Apparently when cutting out my pieces, some weren't quite the right size, which messed up the entire front side. I know it wasn't a mistake in my measurements, since I had double-checked those and the back of the camera went together perfectly. And the front pieces should have all been the same size, but a couple of the pieces, I'm not sure exactly which ones, something wasn't quite cut out properly. And now I'm going to show you how to fix a mistake like this, but this is also a method that you can use to make the product at the end look cleaner, even if you didn't make any mistakes. Then here I stripped the front and back off of some scrap cardboard. You can also use a paper bag for this, and I wrapped the front like shown. For the back, I cut out a piece to fit that panel and glued that on to hide the seams from the wrapping. I then traced each side and did the same, because my sides weren't quite the same. I did that for the front as well, and then recut out the opening for the photo. Once that is done, you can glue on the front detail photo slot. Now onto the details. Freddy's hat is simple. You'll need the medium circle for the brim and the smallest for the top. The side of the hat already has a template, and that should be cut out of the thinner cardboard so it can be formed into a cylinder. It is easiest to use tape on the inside to hold the pieces together and then glue it. Same goes attaching the hat to the brim, it makes it a lot easier. I cut down the bottom layer of the cardboard as shown here to make assembly a bit easier. This way it just fits right in, you don't have to try to force it or anything, and then the top, being the same size as you initially cut, lines up perfectly. Now for the ears, you'll need all 3 sized circles. The largest circle will be the back of the ear, the mid-sized circle is for the middle part of the ears that you see, and the smallest circle will go in between the two. A right angle should be cut out of each circle, matching the measurements shown on screen. Once cut out and assembled, add 2 very small tabs onto the back of the ear. This will allow you to attach the ear brackets. On mine, I also did a line of hot glue along the back of the ear after the tabs were on and going over top of them to make sure that everything would hold, since the tabs are very small. Now that the body and details are ready, paint them all white. If any part of the detail has a glossy side, rough that up gently with either a nail file or sandpaper to allow the paint to stick. Once it is painted and dry, you can move on to painting your base color. Paint the full body and the edges of the ears this orangey color. Pause to read how I made this paint, and then don't worry about the painted details on the body just yet. just do the ones on the details, and those are really simple. Just silver on the little plate things, red on the lens, silver to the middle of the ears, and then a blue stripe around the hat. I made the lens for the camera by making a puddle of hot glue on a piece of parchment paper, letting that cool down, cutting it out to be a more perfect circle, and painting it black, and then painting the edges of that red. Now onto the body. With a pencil, lightly trace out all the red and blue details on the Faz-Cam. Depending upon your paint, start with whichever color is the most transparent. If they are the same, it doesn't matter here. But here, my blue paint was more opaque than the red, so the blue could more easily cover up any mistakes I made with the red paint. Depending upon your paint, you may need to do more or less coats than I did. I did 2 full coats of the red and just like a touch-up coat on the blue. Once the body is painted and dry, you can glue on all the details. I added some scrap pieces of the cardboard to some of mine to make them look raised. This is optional. To finish it off, I applied a clear coat to give it a little bit of shine, but this is also optional. The only details I didn't add were the side panels, because I struggle with drawing fine lines, so I purposely left it out. And there you go, your very own Faz-Cam. More tutorials are on the way, so make sure to check back and leave any suggestions that you would like to see me make in the comments below.